Thursdy for Trots, and we are back for another week. Toby McKinnon, despite rumours, you are back on the show with me, mate.
Yes, I'm back and happy to be here once again, Paul, with your great self. So we've got a big show lined up this week with some different guests, I think. Tracy Loftus, which will be talking all things pony trots, which is a great part of our sport, and we'll have a look at the St Arnaud Cups. We've got James Herbertson coming in.
He's going to be a great interview, isn't he? He's had a great week.
And we're having someone from the Ballarat club, but we're going to keep that as a surprise, I think.
Because it's a surprise for us as well at the minute. I hope either Paul Rouse or Bianca will be coming on the show a little bit later on, and I'll be talking everything that they're doing here at Ballarat. And great to see Tracy's cracked the fridge, so we're going really well now. The show will rock on. Been a big week, mate. You have featured a little bit in the news. Just quickly, you announced your retirement from Trots Club Victoria, but hopefully you won't be lost to harness racing?
Yeah, I suppose I've been there for a few years now, and the organisation's going through a bit of a period of change. There's a new president, there's 3 new board members coming on in the next month. I was looking at it, and probably I had another 12 months in me, and I thought, well, instead of going in 12 months, this feels like the right time. They've just done a new strategic plan, so I just think it's time for me to move on and find another challenge, and not sure what that'll be yet. I've got plenty of time up my sleeve until December 20 to start to look for the next challenge for me.
You're not ruled out of harness racing either? That's not off the table for everything either, I don't believe, is it?
No, I don't think so. I'm just too passionate, and I love the sport so much, and I know most people that know me would feel that as well, and it probably comes through on this show too. So the passion for the sport's still there, and what I have moving forward, I have no idea. So we'll worry about that as it goes on, and I can give an update each week if you want.
A lot of me time in this show with you, isn't it? Your birthday, the whole lot. Like I trained a winner last night. I drove a winner at Bendigo. No me time for me. It's all about you, isn't it?
Hang on a second. I was doing some research of myself, right? And I didn't have time today, but I found some footage of a drive you had on Lucinda Mack at Maryborough, and the first 200 metres of the race, you were hugging the outside fence.
That could be right.
I'm going to get it up next week.
God bless her. She got the truckies last night, and Bendigo was huge the other night. It was a great night. You were there, veteran drivers race, Hall of Fame night. It was a great atmosphere, wasn't it? It was a terrific night, actually.
It was a terrific night, and it's something different with the Hall of Fame. We haven't done that before, or HRV haven't done it, and there, of course, when you do something new, like it gets different and gets better each year. So I think next year they'll grow that in a significant event. And doesn't the Hall of Fame sit beautifully with the invitation drivers? It was just, there was something about the history of the sport, or something, there was a vibe in the place. And there's a bloke called Noel Ridge, and doesn't he bring passion to the game?
He just exudes it. He makes me want to do a lot of things that I don't even think about doing, because he has that much energy and the likes. And I was fortunate enough, a bit late getting here today, I sat down with Dickie Lee and done a podcast with him just a little bit earlier, so that'll be coming out very shortly as well.
Really?
So on Trots, that's one for the Trots, but it actually ties in with the VSTA Awards night coming up. But plus, it's amazing what he's done in his journey, isn't it, Dick Lee? I mean, we sell him short. He's actually won the veteran drivers race too. I think he won it in his second year. I think Keefe Pratt was the first year and Dick Lee was the second year. So
don't think anyone's had a conversation with Dick Lee and left it earlier than they thought they would.
No, that was a slight concern of mine. I was a little bit worried looking at the watch and trying to get going. St Arnaud, one of the reasons we are here is to pump up everything that's happening in harness racing. And St Arnaud the other day, Country Cups, you were there. I actually took the day off. I sort of had a bit on for the week, so I took the day off. And but you were there, and I believe it was a pretty good crowd.
It was a great crowd. There was 350 people there. It's not many harness people. A lot of local community came out, which was great. There was a lot of good social media about it. Just a lovely atmosphere, and you get up high on the hill there and you really look over the top of them. The racing was great. Track raced well, so we saw a winner from behind. We saw winners up front, so it was a really good afternoon.
It goes back to Rome days, doesn't it? It's like a cauldron where they racing chariots. All we needs a few spears, and I don't know how that'll go down. But anyway, that's one of those ones. We have actually got the Country Cups here ready to go. We've actually got, I believe, the Pacers Cup.
If we must, Jace is just so organised.
Got the Pacers Cup ready to roll.
We described Jace as cock a hoop last week, and look at him today. He is pumped. So we should have the St Arnaud Pacing Cup, and he's about ready to roll with it for the last 200.
No,
back
we
to
just
us.
had a slight issue.
No.
Slight
no.
issue, but it's okay. If you want to see what a Cheshire cat looks like, we can see him here.
I've wrapped him up, and Murphy's Law, David Murphy has done us in here.
The cameraman that's ready to help us too, he's sitting there with a biggest smirk on his face as well. But here we go. We've got the last 200 metres of the 2019 Sonana Pacing Cup.
Third quarter, E-Main Macca hit the lead. Rupert of Lincoln to the outside, hashtag to the inside. E-Main Macca's tired. Rupert of Lincoln down the outside, and also hashtag are flying home. It's E-Main Macca in front. Rupert of Lincoln is flying. E-Main Macca hanging on, and E-Main Macca scores. Great go
So
for
we
the
have you
minor
running, as I
placing.
said, the 2019 Weirs IGA. We've got to look after the sponsors for the clubs as well. Let them get a little bit more bang for their buck. James Herbertson, I mean, he's been driving up a storm, and that was a very, very heady drive, wasn't it?
It was a great drive. He assessed the race mid-race. He did what Greg Sugars did at Yarra Valley, so something we've got James coming up later. We can actually ask him about it. He whipped around into the chair. It was mentioned Greg Sugars thought the horse was a terrific chance, and he's
on our show last Thursday. If anyone watched it, I mean, Greg was pumping him up big time. So
very much so. So James copied that drive of Greg from the Yarra Valley Cup. He whipped around in the chair. He controlled the race from there. It was the best horse in the race, and that's what you do with the best horse in the race. You got to put it in the race, and he got the chocolates. It was a great win by E-Main Macca, and it's a horse that's always had a lot of ability, E-Main Macca, and where it could go, we're just not sure. I think he's got a bit more to give, and I'd love to see him get to what he promised. He did have some health concerns, a horse, and hopefully he can just recapture the potential, or what's the word? He can get to the potential that he showed.
What he showed, yeah. I think he's probably at where he showed. He's just one of those horses. I don't think anyone really knows how far he could go. He could end up being Code Black sort of horse. You don't know, like a little bit of a sleeper at the start of the season, that by the end of the season people are like, wow, look what he's done. Because he does have a lot of raw ability and, a little bit of untapped. The one thing he probably has over Code Black too, being able to handle those tight tracks makes a little bit of a difference. So, yeah, tight tracks make for great racing. A couple of unlucky stories, Rupert of Lincoln and Sean McNulty's horse, hashtag, they were both very unlucky in the run, but winners are grinners. And the rest can please themselves, that's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So was a big win for E-Main Macca, and I'd imagine it will be looking towards the Geelong Cup, so you'd think that a Code Black and E-Main Macca will be all heading towards the Geelong Cup. Which
looking to Ripper Cup, isn't it, next Saturday night? Saturday week, sorry, yeah.
I just feel without a San Carlo and those couple of top liners, it's just going to be a real even night, and I know the club has got strong bookings, so it's looking like a really great night.
It'll be a great night there at Geelong. Get out there and have a look. I think we've got the tile for the cup standings as I speak, and I'll let Codes do that. He's all over these tiles, so Jason's going to flick them up.
So the PACE Championship, Code Black's gone to 13 points. It's a significant lead at this stage when you consider that most horses in the past have won it, I think, with 20 and 26. So to be 13 at this early stage in the season, San Carlo's on 8, and I'm not sure he's going to be a player at the end of the year. He's going to be away in New Zealand for some time. Colt 31 again, not a major player with 5, and being a Queensland horse, and E-Main Macca's on 5. So there, Code Black, if you're betting and running on this, he'd be a very short price favourite.
Training Standardbreds is an easy game, isn't it? Colt 31.
Oh, listen to this. Blake Train's a winner, and it's an easy game all of a sudden.
No, the other way. I'm feeling for the poor people. I mean, galloping out the other night on Saturday night, you just got a feel for them. Won the Swan Hill Cup, and I don't know exactly where they're at with their prep. They might have another cup run. You never know. We might get another cup runner. So always put your phone on silent. That's 101 that we've always been told. And, never drink a Johnny Walker when you're doing it. So it's all good. So.
Going back to Colt 31, Kevin and Kay Seymour that own the horse and Grant Dixon, they know the ups and downs of this game better than anybody. So he would just take that in his stride, no doubt.
Absolutely. The Trotters Cup, I'm not sure who the sponsors were for the Sonana Trotters Cup, but it again was a great race, and our man, Snooze Finozio, we found him. A couple of the other harness racing podcasts, they're trying to claim him now, but he's our man, isn't he?
Snooze, he's just on fire, the kid. He's Kyvelli Finn. He won with Magical. He backs up with Kyvelli Finn. It is probably a rung below a Magical. You would have thought Kyvelli Finn, but he was terrific. He sat 3 back the markers. Jace Roll, we'll see the last couple 100 metres here. Came from 3 back the fence.
5 metres. Kyvelli Finn on the outside is putting in the big bounce. Jericho's trumpet and Kyvelli Finn. Kyvelli Finn on the outside's coming home the best. I think it's got up in the last stride here with Jericho's trumpet. It's a close go.
Travel that night, like he was his first of his 3 winners at Melton the week prior, and the one thing he said about him, he said, doesn't matter where he is, he puts his head down and his backside up to try and get to the line, and that was just I mean, that just highlighted it. You just see how hard he's trying here. His legs are going 100 mile an hour, and you reckon Jericho's Trumpet's going to be happy when Kai Valley Finn's not in the race against him?
Yeah, it was at the 400 metre mark. He looked the winner, Kai Valley Finn, but he had to get out. He looked like he was bolting. Jericho's Trumpet just got a little bit further ahead than you thought. Then all of a sudden, halfway up the straight, thought, geez, he mightn't get there, Kai Valley Finn, even though he looked at $1.04 chance at the 400 metre mark. And he sort of monstered the line. It was almost like he knew the horse where the line was and to make sure he got there.
Yeah, he does that indeed. And the one thing I think what Chris is doing, for mine anyway, watching him, he's showcasing, he's educating some horses, he's showcasing other horses. This horse, I think he's educating him for another year down the track. Myself, I reckon he's grooming him. I think next year he'll be one of his main Cups horses. I think the way he's putting him in the right races, putting him back on the fence, learning the tempo and learning to run on strongly at the line. We're going to go to the tile now of the Murray's Idol Trotters Championship, and this is looking a little bit more busy, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, here we've got Magical on 8. Kai Valley Finn is jumped up on 7. So there's the Chris and OCO. Between them, they're 1 and 2. Everybody knows on 6. Mass Destruction on 6 and Mary Law on 6. So she's fairly tight at the top there. And Blake Redden was keen on Jericho's Trumpet because it is a horse, Jericho's Trumpet, in this series. Only on 2 points or something at the moment. It'll go around week in, week out in these cups. A bit similar to King Danny and Fratellino last week. So we'd last year, sorry. I think I agree with Blake 100%. A horse like Jericho's Trumpet, he may be targeting all these series of races week in, week out.
He actually was doing that last year, Jericho's Trumpet, and I think something happened after Wedderburn, and so he just ended up a couple of runs short. But he was in the tally there for a long while behind those other 2 horses, as you said. So,
and he's a bit of a hardy mouth horse. I think we saw in the replay there, he jumped out of his gear about 20 metres past the line. So you wouldn't want to back him too confidently in any race, but you can't leave him out of any. So,
but like Kai Valley Finn, Wedderburn's, Borts, he's going to be thereabouts, and he can get around those tight tracks, so he's going to be very, very dangerous. Rightio, well, we're on track, we're on time, mate. This is just rolling way too easy at the minute. We better throw to an ad, and we'll come back with our first guest, Tracy Loftus, after you, my friend, do your live feed and throw me under the bus again.
Live read, Chase, or are we going to the ad? Live read. Woodlands, starting in conjunction with Northern Rivers Equine, are pleased to announce that Gunsire American Ideal, his book is full and closed this season. So he joins Sweet Lou in having his Australia book closed, thanks to all breeders who have supported both stallions. We still have breeding opportunities available to Bettor's Delight, Down by the Seaside, Highview Tommy, Square Gators What the Hill and Pegasus Spur. Woodland Stud is breeding in record numbers in Australia this season and a significant number of positive results. Call Mark Hughes on 0451 650 707. Is that up on the screen? It's up on the screen there as well for those watching at home. Mark Hughes, 0451 650 707, and get on to all the Woodland Stud.
Clap it up when Victoria comes together for harness racing's greatest carnival, Trots Country.
Joined by Tracy Loftus today. Not sure what happened then, but it's all good. We'll ignore what's going on behind the camera. It's fine. Don't worry, Trace. You've been put forward to help us promote the Pony Trots, Trace, which is very
Thanks
good.
to Emma. Yep, definitely.
You've got to hold it up a little bit for us. That's all good. Emma Prosser, that is. So Emma is the HRV representative that is actually overseeing it. But what I've seen doing a lot of the MCing around the place, you're at a lot of these tracks and you seem to be getting around marshalling the kids and trying to get the kids all lined up.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm involved with Emma and the rest of the girls at HRV just to get the kids on race days and get them around and get them all together so they can have a bit of fun and get out on the track on time so we're out of everyone's way. But yeah, look, the kids are really enjoying it and it's a bit of fun. And we're there just about every week with our son anyway, so yeah, it's good to get around with the kids.
Yeah, your son Daniel, he wins a few. I don't know how, because the pony's knee-high to a grasshopper, or I think Daniel could sort of walk over the top of him. It must be a juggling act for a mum, but it's also very beneficial from HRV's point of view. I mean, it's an incredible beneficial part of our industry, I think, is to get these kids coming through.
Yeah, definitely. Look, the kids get out there, they have a lot of fun, but it teaches them a lot as well. So they all get out there, they help each other out, they look after each other. So especially the older kids with the younger ones, if they look like they're having a bit of trouble, the older kids always help them out, which is great. It also gives them exposure to the sport. So a lot of the kids are actually born and bred harness racing, so they're from harness racing families, but it actually just gives them a really good grounding, and they all look after their own ponies, they gear them up, we're always there to help them when they need it, but they all look after each other.
Is that potentially one of the challenges we face, is to try and get kids from outside of traditional families involved?
Yeah, definitely. Look, it is, we're getting out there around trying to do a lot of social media, which is really good. We get a lot more interest now. But it is a challenge to get people in. It's an expensive sport to get into, as you would well know. With a big horse, it costs just as much to set up a pony just about as it does to race a big horse. So, there's always the expense there, but, trying to get people interested by getting around to the country cups, and, a lot of people will just come up and talk to the kids, and the kids love it. So they like explaining what they do and talking to a lot of different people.
So Daniel is your son, and he's been doing it for how long? And
so he's been driving since he was 6, so he's just turned 9, so this is his 3rd season, and he has progressed from his little tiny pony miles onto a little bit bigger one. Doesn't go much quicker, but that's okay. So he really likes it. The working the pony during the week, not so much, but getting there on race day, and he's really getting into it now with harnessing up himself and all of that sort of thing. So it's giving him that understanding of responsibility and getting him around.
And is it, they're at every cup meeting, and we see them at all the cups. Is it a series? Is there points? How does all that work?
Yeah, definitely. So all the country cup meetings, the kids will get points for our championship, which we run in May each year down at Melton. So the kids who earn the most points throughout the year go into the championship final. The others will race through that series as well, and they go into a consolation on the same night.
So they're all involved anyway, no matter
definitely. What? Yeah, so even if they don't get through to the championship final, they're still involved on the night, and they all support each other, which is really good.
Yeah, you see them after the races in the afternoon, and it reminds me of me when I was a kid. There's a group of them running around together, and they're doing whatever, having a bit of fun after they've been competing. They're running amok, as we did when we were their age at the trots. It's like the good old days when you see them running around like that.
And they do form sort of a family and a bond, don't they? I mean, they all look after each other. I know at Yarra Glen, I think you had trouble with a cameraman parking the car in the wrong spot, and they all had to sort of stop, and they looked after each other getting around them. So, yeah.
Yeah, they do. And look, they've got us running after them, like you say, running amok around the place. But even if they're not racing, they'll get to the race meetings and they'll hang around with each other when they're at the race meetings, even if they're not racing their ponies. So it's really good, and they look forward to seeing each other, which is great.
It is a great stepping stone. I mean, our next guest, and he's driving up a storm at the minute, James. I mean, he was a pony trotter back in the day, and there's a few of them. Alan Tormey, I know that. Just trying to think. I'll probably forget a few of them. There's no worries there. But there's been plenty come through that they've cut their teeth in the pony trots and then made that progression, which it's a great stepping stone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely, and it also helps not only for driving but also training and all of that sort of thing as well, because way back when I used to drive pony trotters when I was a kid. So, it's one of those things that you grow up with and you still stay involved no matter what you do. So it's a great standing, sort of gets everybody in, the families all get about, and we've got a great group of parents that actually help out every week when we're around as well. So it's not just one or two of us, we're all there helping out along the way, so it's great.
It teaches them responsibility too, doesn't it? I mean, that's the one thing I know they don't like working them during the week and all the rest. I mean, my daughter doesn't do pony trots; she does pony club basically, and they're great things. Animals like that way, and horses. That's the one thing they do is teach them responsibilities. And we'd all love a sleep in every day, but it's not a possibility all the time.
No, that's right. Daniel's an afternoon shift. He doesn't do mornings, which is fine. But
Does he get that from Dad?
No, definitely not. He's an afternoon shift boy, but our broodmare's just had a foal in the last couple of weeks as well, so he's pretty much out there wanting to play around with the foal and that sort of stuff. So, he gets him in and he gets out there working his pony every now and again at home, and he likes to work his old pony because he just trots along and does everything right, where his new one doesn't really do that. But but he has fun. So, and we have our dress-ups and all of that sort of stuff as well, and the kids get really interested and involved in that.
I was going to say that fashion parades and the like, there's plenty going on from in that sense. It's not just get out there and race and try and win. There's a lot of other components of it, and as well as getting together, as you say, as a friendship and a bondship.
Yeah, definitely. And look, most of the kids will go out and they're out there to have a bit of fun. So, they all like to win, obviously, but, they're all out there to have a bit of fun, and that's really the main thing for us. It's getting them all together and so they can go and have fun together.
If someone does want to get involved, what's the best way for them? So if we've got a non-trotting family out there that they say, hey, wouldn't mind getting a little bit more advanced?
Yeah, look, definitely get in contact with Emma Prosser at Harness Racing Victoria. We've got our Pony Trots Facebook page, so if they jump on there and send through a message through the Facebook page or drop Emma an email, I'm sure she'll be able to give them lots of information.
Yeah, and it's encouraged. We want more people in harness racing, so it's a great stepping stone to get kids involved, and it's all run controlled and it's run properly. That's the one thing about it too. So you've got a heap of guidelines you've got to stick to, so probably
definitely.
too many.
We've got our Australian rules that we stick by, that we work by, and that's sort of consistent across all of the different states in Australia. So that gives us a really good grounding to work from. The kids get lots of opportunities. They go around to all the cup meetings, as we've talked about, and Sarah Walsh is off to New Zealand to represent Victoria in the next few weeks.
I was about to ask that.
So she's really looking forward to that, and she'll represent us really, really well.
So on that, will they provide her with a pony, or do they have to?
Yeah, so similar to what happened we had 2 New Zealand kids come over last year for our Inter-Dominion.
Yep.
So Sarah will travel over and they'll provide her with a pony to drive, and she'll get to drive in the kids' carts over there for the Inter-Dominion.
Is she Victorian representative or Australian?
She's a Victorian representative, so there's representatives from all the other states as well.
Great. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yep.
so that'd be a huge thrill. That's the thing. So she's going to travel overseas.
Yeah.
It's a country
Yeah.
I haven't been to yet. So.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, she'll be
definitely.
an international driver, unlike some of us.
Unlike most of us, Paul, it's okay.
Don't stick up for him, please. Do not stick up for him. They actually think we don't get along, so I find that quite funny because I don't really like him, so it works out pretty good actually that way. Just quickly, you are from Ballarat, and you and your husband, you do have another business as well down under Sulky's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we do. So we manufacture at Harness Racing Sulky's, and we also do a bit of agistment and pre-training of some horses as well. But yeah, the carts are going really, really well at the moment. We've got quite a few out there, a few orders on the go at the moment, so we're pretty busy, and we both work. So Stephen works here and I work as full-time as well, so it's pretty busy at the minute.
Water truck was going around there just before, so
Yep.
we know where Steve is.
That'd be him.
We know where Steve is anyway. So, as I said, Steve's one of the track curators here. So, Ballarat's a great club, isn't it? A very progressive club.
Yeah, definitely. There's always something going on here. And they're always looking at ways to promote the sport, so not just through the racing, but they do a lot of functions and that sort of stuff here as well. So we're always doing something around the place.
Very, very good. Any more questions from Coach?
No more questions, Your Honour.
No more questions, Your Honour. I think we're actually going okay for the run sheet too. So, Trace, thank you so much for joining us. As I said, anyone wants to get involved, get in touch with Emma Prosser at HRV or yourself. See us at the race.
Come and see us at the races.
If they're at a race meeting and they see the pony trots, go and ask someone. They'll be able to point them in the start.
Definitely.
Point
Come
them in
and
that
see
direction.
us and we can get you started.
Exactly. Well done. Thank you very much, Tracy Loftus, for joining us. Wasn't that bad, was it? You can tell Emma
No.
it wasn't that bad. We're
It's
not.
all good.
Yeah. Emma was making out we're really bad people. We're not that bad, are we, Tobes? That's what
Speak for
I'll
yourself.
say anyway. We'll throw to an ad. I'm not sure where our next guest is. He want to be on track. We'll find out where he is, but he'll be fine.
In fairness, I told him 5:30, so...
Clap it up when Victoria comes together for harness racing's greatest carnival, Trots Country.
Right, we are back. Thursday for Trots, live from Bray Raceway here in sunny Ballarat. Apparently, we've got to give half an hour's heads up for our guest. We might as well sledge him while he's not here, James Herbertson. He can drive winners, but he can run late for a interview, that's for sure.
Oh, he's a busy young man. He's got a farm he works at with his father, so I'm sure he's been up feeding up and everything. So
You'd be sleeping on the couch and just didn't realise the time. You've been too kind. We're actually going to change it up a little bit. We're going to go around the watering hole, which is generally where we end up, but we'll go around the watering hole now. I think Jason's about to flick to one of those tiles for us.
Geelong Cup on Saturday, November 23 is our next main event in the country circuit, I suppose you'd say. So there's a big night there. There's marquee packages available. There'll be dining room maybe. There's still some seats available in the dining room. Sales are pretty strong, and I just got a feeling it's going to be a classic cup race. I've just got this feeling. The Garrard's Popular Arm Free-for-All at Melton on Saturday night has got on Friday night. It'll be a bit of a preview of some really nice horses that you think will come out of that. The Colt 31, Code Black will be going towards the Geelong Cup, you think, and an Emain Macca. So there's the last three Cup winners: Swan Hill, Yarra Valley, and St Arnaud should all meet together in the Geelong Cup.
And then you have other horses here like Rapper's Delight. You don't know what he's going to do. My Kiwi Mate, Hometown Cup, like so it could be you wouldn't know where it's going to go, would you?
Some Beach Shadow, we've named 6 horses already that you'd expect to be there, and
Some Beach Shadow, yeah.
And they're all 3-4-1 chances.
Yep.
So, and of course the barrier draw will mean Code Black will have to do some work. He'd be the nominal favourite on those 6, but he'll have to do some work. So it's exciting times.
It is indeed. What else we got? We got Stall Cup and Cranbourne Cup. They're coming up shortly. You're the man with the cup, so I'll have to leave it there. I'll leave that to you.
Stall Cup on Sunday, December 1. The club's pushing that through social media channels pretty strongly.
Doing a good job too, yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job at Stall, and it's a $45,000 cup. It sort of slips under the guard a little bit, it being a day club. Then Cranbourne's the week after on December 7, and Gunbower on December 8, and we'll have to get the arm ready for the gumboot throw.
The gumboot throw.
Yeah, Gunbower do the gumboot throw each year. There's categories for men, women, and kids. And
meaning like this.
No. There's no fires in December, so it'll be fine
right.
at Gunbower. Johnny Auger from the sides throwing in some sledges, but Gunbower should be exciting. Cranbourne got the tri-codes on Saturday night. There's 7 races at Cranbourne for the tri-codes.
Going to be good. Melton Saturday night, mate. She's a good meeting. How's the trot? Michael Howard the other day on Rival podcast station. Are they rivals or they're just allies? Who knows? But yeah, he was very excited.
Well, they're rivals.
They're rivals. He'd be right. They'll give us a hard time if we give them a hard. Actually, Jason Bonington, fair income, Manthra D. He was carrying on the other. He tried to call it something else. He's trying to turn it into a Maury Law or whatever it is as well.
Man the D.
It's not Man the D. It's named after Samantha. They've left off the SA. Mantha D. That's its name. I went and saw Drew. It's his name. Don't try and reinvent the wheel.
I thought it was a basketball reference.
We're podcasters. I don't know what I think that's where he was going with it as well. I can guarantee from the owners and the breeders, Mantha D. So there we've set one of the podcasts straight. So they'll give us a hard time. Don't worry.
You realise they control it and they can pull the plug on us whenever they want. So we better not go too hard.
I haven't given Michael Howard a hard time, and Codes has already sent me a message saying we're going great. So we'll stick to that. But this Trotters Cup, Magic Cool, Tricky Jaw. Our guest coming up in a minute, James Herbertson, My Sky Pocket. He's got a good favouring draw to potentially be behind Jillaby Babaska. Now, Jillaby Babaska probably looked a little bit ordinary there a couple of weeks ago when he got a bit tired. Magic Cool was a horse that got over the top of him, so I don't think it was that bad a run at all. So the form's just been well and truly franked.
At the time, I was happy with what Jason Lee did. He shot clear of them. He drew 10, 12 metres clear, and it looked like the winning move in the race. And then halfway up the straight, it was like, he's gone too early, Jason. I think if he had his time again, he would have done it slightly differently, and he probably wins that race, and we'd be talking about him, how good he went, because he would have beaten Magic Cool, who since won the Yarra Valley Cup. So
it's funny how things change and work too, because Magical may not have gone to the Yarra Glen Cup if he had got beat, but because he won, they probably said, we'll have a throw at the stumps, go to there. Wobbly, the other trotter, on the up, and then Custodian last night at Kilmore made a return too, so some exciting trotters coming up through the ranks, that's for sure.
Beat a nice little filly too, a nice little mare called Norquay, yeah. I'll throw that in. I've got to throw Barrel Boy in too, because Cody says I do it every week. Jason will throw to Toby's tipple in a minute while we're talking about Melton. There's one here that came out of the Yarra Valley Cup, was a really good race, good run. A horse called Aleppo Murphy. Now, Michelle and Dale Eastman, the co-trainers in this horse, it's named in Michelle's name, but Dale does lend her some assistance. Just ask him, he'll tell you all about it. It's race 1, number 10, and it's Toby's tipple this week. And the good news, Duck, who's Dale, if you're listening at home, I've had 3 tipples so far and they've all run second. So, going well. We did tip E-Main Macca to the listeners in E-Main Macca, so I'm going to run with E-Main Macca. But Toby's tipple, we're going with race 1, number 10, Aleppo Murphy. Now we can start giving it to James Herbison because he's gone past his 5:30 deadline.
No, I've already started. Have you ever asked Duck why he's called Duck?
No, I probably have, but I can't.
You don't know the answer.
Well, what's the answer? You can't go with that, then not give us the answer.
I don't know the answer. It's just I can do whatever I like. Throw it out there. Today's show is brought to you, as we say, by Woodlands. Mark Hughes and the crew are doing a great job with their stallions over here. I think Kath McIntosh is very happy with American Ideal, fully booked, so it's great for them, and they're getting bigger and bigger involvement. Here in New Zealand Cup the other day, how was the crowds for that, mate? Pretty awesome, wasn't it? Have you been?
No, never been to New Zealand. Nikita Ross went on a personal trip to New Zealand. She's in the San Carlo camp and she just couldn't believe it. She was just, there's people everywhere. She said the taxi drivers, she was on a bus and it was a tour bus and they said, oh, it's a big week in New Zealand. It's the New Zealand Cup week, and we just don't have that here. It penetrates the mainstream market. There was news stories on the mainstream news about the fashions on the field at the New Zealand Cup, and they're just the things, that penetration into the mainstream market that they've got in New Zealand. But there'd be people there, she said, that wouldn't have seen a race. They just go because they go. So we do get that at events here, and James Herbison.
Can't even find the right door.
We do have that at events here.
It's amazing how he can drive a winner, I tell you.
But they're seldom at harness racing events. So Nikita came back absolutely excited about her trip. She was a bit disappointed. She's a big San Carlo lady. She's come from up that way, so she was a bit disappointed. Here's Sir James.
No, wait 1 sec. Just one thing I reckon, next year, our show, the 3 of us, Swifty, we can't take him, he'll be an hour late. We'll go over to New Zealand, but the 3 of us should be over there. We could do a live feed over there for the New Zealand Cup.
Live from Woodlands Stud in New Zealand.
And now we're talking, hey, they might want to get us over there.
For a paid trip, we'll do anything.
We might, for the Jigsaw Man wants to come with us.
Johnny Walker's waving.
Anyway, we'll see who's got the popular podcast. If we get over there by Woodland Stud, we're going to throw to an ad so we can get our late visitor, our late guest in, and he'll be back.
He'll be back
in about 2 minutes.
3 minutes late. Come on.
Lap it up when Victoria comes together for harness racing's greatest carnival, Trots Country.
Thursday for Trots, live from Bray Raceway, proudly brought to you by Woodlands Stud here, and we must, as again, say thank you, and the fact they're taking us to New Zealand. I believe we've got about 6 people going by the census since we've said that. We're about 6 people coming, but no, it'd be good if we could get over there, I must say. We'll go for it, but do you want me to throw to our late guest?
It's just got real warm in here. This kid is on fire, eh? Isn't he on fire? A double at Melton, wins the St Arnaud Cup. He's driven winners at Kilmore since. He's just on fire.
Double last night.
If you'd had $10 on every runner you've had in the last week, you'd be fairly happy, James.
Yeah, you'd be fairly well ahead.
You know, one thing you do when you go on TV, don't have chewing gum. Just a mistake.
He's all right.
I've enjoyed giving him a hard time. I've known the boy for a little while. So, yeah.
Now, I don't know where to start, but we'll start at the St Arnaud Cup. It was a question. Michael Howard raised it on another podcast. You pulled out on E-Main Macca the exact same spot Greg Sugars did on Code Black in the Yarra Valley Cup. Is that something you actually noticed and you watch drivers do those things, or is that something you've seen over many years?
To be honest, Tobes, it's the first I've heard of it. So,
yeah.
And I miss the Yarra Valley Cup as it is. So, no, just the tempo of the race. At that point in time, they just backed off slightly.
Yep.
And as you probably saw, Michael Stanley's horse wasn't handling the track too well.
Yeah.
So if I pushed him into the turn, I was able to get past him, and that turned out to be what happened.
So you were thinking, if I can get outside him as we go into the turn, he's not going to get around the turn so good, and I'll get to the chair easier.
Yes, well, E-Main Macquarie trials at Mount Gambier, which is one of the flattest and tightest tracks, as you well know, in Australia. So, he knows how to get around small tracks, and for a big horse, he does a very good job. And when I put him out, he showed a real good turn of foot and was able to get there. And from then, he just toughed it out from there, and he came in and he was blowing up a bit over the back too. So there's a bit of improvement there. So full credit to Greg and his other half. They do a good job with their horses, and the numbers speak for themselves. I think he's won 28 races or something that from 48 starts or something ridiculous like that. So, to have a big horse like that going that quick around small tracks, it's a real credit to him.
He actually looks a lovely horse to drive. Everyone likes driving fast horses, but he just looks a lovely horse. He doesn't seem to pull, hang, doesn't seem to give your driver much grief at all.
No, I drove him once at Melton. It's only the first time I drove him, and we were in front, and he was a little bit fresh, and he did over-race and got himself beat in the end. But yesterday when I put him on a helmet, he dropped a bit just looked like driving an old claimer. And then when I pulled him out, he just went bang straight away. And as you said, he's a perfect horse to drive. And even at the start, I was able to buzz him into the running line and get one out 3 back due to a lot of good luck. And even then, he just relaxed straight away. So, perfect horse to drive.
Yeah, and it was a great win. Been, as we said, a great week. Double at Bendigo, double at Melton, and then you went there on the Sunday, and another double last night. Probably goes a little bit ebbs and flows when you're a young driver coming through. You are still classed as a junior or a concession driver at the minute, but you well and truly outdriven your claim.
I've got my country claims left, still a 3-point claim, which a lot of people use still. But in terms of winning, it mainly just comes down to the horses. Like, they might have been long shots, but they travelled into the race nice and they got the luck that they needed, and it got them over the line in the end. But you have runs, what it's like pulling.
Yeah, but you get good support from quite a few of the stables. I know last night Ross Graham, they've been very good to you. I mean, they have Chris drive, they have Greg drive a few, and they keep you on, and that helps, doesn't it, to keep yourself ticking along and going around, and especially when those stables are in good form. Yeah,
that's right. And I've got stables that have stuck with me from the very start, from when I first started driving. And Mario as a party is one of those. Johnny Douglas, and now I've got a few new ones like Roscoe and. With my old man as well, he's been able to get my name out there enough. Dad. He's been the main one to get my name out there, and he's always got a nice little team of horses that are just ticking over and they're consistent. So if you can get on those sort of horses, your name's out there, and it just goes on from there.
Won a pot of gold, a final at Redcliffe, which I spoke to James about at one time, asked him what it was like, and he said, I wasn't born, don't remember it, didn't know the race. It was one of those great moments. But your dad's been in the game for a long time. He was in Queensland for a number of years, very successful up there. He's just always had that group of just nice horses, and you've got to keep turning those over though, but it always seems like there's a few coming through. And I think particularly with you, he's put a lot of hard work in over the last 4 or 5 years to get you the drives and get you going. Yeah,
that's 100% right, Tobes. And, we've got a good group of owners now as well. Johnny Vag and Keith Parry, they're very, very loyal owners, and they understand what goes on in racing. And we've got Vapor Jack in here tonight for them, and he's a good show. Probably should have won first up, but a little bit of a bad drive there.
Tip.
It's on. We're on.
But he's a good little miler, and he tries very hard. So he'll be going fairly close tonight, I'd say.
And what stage did you think, I want to be a harness driver? Or have you ever realised yet that you are a harness driver? Is that, or are you still just living it day by day?
Well, up until probably 12 months ago, I still felt like I was on school holidays.
Yeah.
Even though I hadn't been in school for a fair while.
Yeah.
So, but when Matty Craven started driving for us, he gave me the bug, and it's just gone on from there, pony trots, and then on to trial drives and racing, and it's just continued on. And, it's a good lifestyle. I enjoy it. Get a little bit tired as you do, but it's a lot of travelling and that. But, I sort of don't know what to do with myself sometimes when I'm at home and not at the races. So you get into a routine with things, and when you're driving good horses, it makes it a lot easier.
You had the potential at one stage to become the next Bob Ingham or Dick Hazeldean, didn't you? Like you were going to be the chicken king of Ballarat at one stage. He was. Loves his chickens.
Yes, that is true.
There's
that is true.
Clearly a story that no one but used to know about. So run us
He's
through.
still got them. He's still got. He loves his chooks. He's got chooks everywhere. So yeah.
Oh, they got so you got a farm, or tell us?
Yeah. So I've always had like an interest in chooks and as Paulie well knows, and it's probably drifted away slightly now as I've gone into the driving, and Dad's sort of taken over a bit more. But we've got a solid sort of 40 or 50 at home in a nice run, and Dad sells the eggs out the front with the horse manure and sheep manure, and that goes towards paying the rates. So it all adds up.
You didn't show them and take them to the Melbourne show and do all that stuff?
I did once or twice.
Yeah.
Told you.
Yeah. No, this is interesting. Yeah.
And but yeah, that went by the wayside. But it was a thing for a while there.
Nothing wrong with Jack and Bob Ingham, mate, or Dick Hazeldean. I can tell you they were good. I have known you for ever and a day, ever since you were here. I think you were about 2 or 3 when you just moved here to Ballarat. Would that be about right?
6 months old.
6 months old. So I've known him for a very, very long time and seen you grow up. And I've seen Dad change a lot as well. Can't get probably unheralded what Dad has done for you in a way, because fair to say right at the minute he'd be pretty happy with his sheep and his chooks at the farm, wouldn't he? But I mean, like, he keeps the horses going to keep you going, doesn't he?
That's exactly right. He's been doing it for a long time, as he said, and he's probably towards the end of it. He wants to go more into the sheep, and he's really enjoying that at the moment. And he works hard with it, and he's being rewarded with it. So it'll only go on in strength and strength. So, but as you said, what he's done without having a massive name horse or that, he's just been ticking over for a long time, and just having that nice little bread and butter group of horses. And we're looking back the other day, and last year was his best year for a few years, and he was happy with that. I think he got 25 winners for the year or something like that, and we had a nice little group of horses, and they're just coming back now, and they'll keep on ticking over and winning races, and there's new ones coming through every year. So if we can keep that going and just have a little boutique sort of stable, we'd be happy with that.
I think the opportunity to throw a couple of horses on a float and spend the night with your dad driving to the trots, and whether you win or not, and drive home, they're times when you're older like us, and you'll appreciate them and look back on it very fondly throughout your life. So I think it's a great opportunity, and you're very lucky to do so.
Yeah, I'm very lucky, and he's very, you could say, wise when it comes to racing. He's been around and he knows what goes on. And, I can try and tell him things and he knows I'm not telling the truth about races, but just to make myself feel better. But he knows what goes on out there. And, even talking to the likes of Daniel Jack, who used to drive for him, you come in and you give him a reason and you don't lie to him, he'll be happy with that. And that's what I've always worked on, and giving trainers a good feedback on the horse, pacing well, driving well. And a lot of trainers appreciate that, I think.
Who's your number one supporter, Gay or Hopi?
Well, Gay is
Gay's mum, in case you're not
Gay's
sure.
mum, yeah. Well,
Gay Waterhouse. It's very suitable. I wouldn't say there's a number one. I wouldn't be able to pick one.
When he won his Group 1, I might have rang Mum. And she started bawling her eyes out afterwards on the phone. So she was a bit of a mess.
I must admit, I was cheering you home that day too. I really was. Savannah JJ, any news? Haven't seen it for a while.
I spoke to Stan probably 3 weeks ago, and after Ballarat here, a big abscess blew out that probably had been brewing for a while, I'd say, and finding that out now, and knowing that he had that racing through the Group 1 and the few wins before that, it's a very good effort. So I wouldn't say he's too far away, but hopefully he might be able to take a couple of country cups in this year at some point.
He might have him up to 40 laps of his 350 metre track or whatever he's got there to try and get him fit. Unbelievable, isn't it, to think someone can have one horse like that. And Ime Mack is probably similar, like they're almost working them by themselves. Like at Narracourt, Ime Mack would be the best horse out of Narracourt. I'm sure Savannah JJ doesn't have much to work with Stan Cameron either.
The sister to Ime Macca goes pretty good too. I can't think of her name, but it's
La Ballarat.
Yeah, La Ballarat. It's actually a great family. Trotters, probably not something that you were, suppose, envisage you'd be going down that path. But I mean, you're on a horse Saturday night called My Sky Pocket. Like, you're getting good on some nice trotters, and they seem to be running for you. This one Saturday night, he's going to be a fair chance there from the one.
Yeah, it's funny. I've never driven a trotter for Dad, and
he's never trained one. That's why.
No, and you know, I've had a lot of good luck on trotters, and it's funny. I drove my first trial drive for Matty Craven down at Terang, which was on a trotter, which I'd never sat behind a trotter in a standing start. I'd never done a standing start, and it's just gone on from there actually, and driven a lot of winners on trotters and had a lot of success. So. But as you said, My Sky Pocket, he's a nice horse, and Julian's done a superb job with him, getting him to relax, and you know, he hasn't got a good reputation when it comes to his manners, but now he's pretty bomb-proof now, and he's got a good show on Friday night.
That's the horse with the bad manners, or Julian?
Matters who you ask.
You had practice standing them up though. We talked to Tracy Loftus earlier about pony trots, so you spent a bit of time in pony trots?
Before that trial, that would have been the only time that I'd driven a trotter from a standing
stand.
Start.
Yeah, okay.
So
The pony trots definitely would have helped with an expectation of what to expect. It was going out onto tracks, being around senior drivers and the like. I mean, it would still be a good grounding for you.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I wanted to do pony trots from a young age, but the old man, Dad, just said, "I'll probably won't be able to get you to the tracks that you'll be racing at, and you won't be able to race at many, and you'll be half wasting your time putting all the effort in and not being able to race." And we got to about the age of 12 or 13, and I said, "I'm doing pony trots," and he said, "Okay." And from there, we had a lot of good times, and he enjoyed watching it, and more than I thought he would. And he took me to a lot of race meetings and had a lot of fun. But you know what you learn from the pony trots, especially if you haven't got a pony that doesn't do everything right, you learn how to sort of control one that's been a bit naughty here and there, and you watch the other ones that are going around, and you can learn a lot from other kids in that point in time. And you know, I love watching the pony trots now and watching the kids. You know, when one's been a bit naughty, how they control it and how they handle it, and it's a great grounding though. Yeah, for sure.
And they'd be looking up to you as well, and you'd be guiding them through and talking to them. I've seen you doing it at the track, so keep doing that. Keep that mentoring and fostering those relationships as you would have received yourself.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. You know, Gav, Greg Sugars, and mainly the Craven boys, Jason, Glenn, and Matty, and you know, they're three blokes that I really look up to, and have given me a lot of. They're the reason I'm really driving, to be honest. So it all goes to them.
Three very underrated steerers in there: Matt Craven, Jason Lee, and Glenn Craven. Well and truly. Goals for the future, mate. Training, is that something that calls, or would you like to continue driving and travel, or like, have you got any major goals at the minute, or just see how it goes?
Well, it's sort of all been a bit upside down. If the driving didn't kick off, I was going to go to Sweden for 6 months and work over there, and we went over there in 2010, and I had the time of my life over there, and the amount of things you can learn. We were only there for a short amount of time, but the things that we picked up and introduced into our training regimes is just amazing for the amount of time we were there. So that was a plan to go and do that, but then the driving kicked off, and but that's something that'll definitely happen down the track, and
it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
I can give you the solution. Just win everything with Savannah JJ, then take him over there with Stan.
He's got My Sky Pocket as well. He's got to do the juggling act.
Oh,
International trot.
Yeah, go to the international trot and win that. And
Yep. No, that's it's something that's on the cards. But you know, I'll just be driving for as long as possible now, and until I hope the drives don't die off. But if they do, then go into the. I like training, and I've got a few at home that sort of I do everything with, and Dad's got his ones that he does everything with, and we bounce off each other in that respect. But I do enjoy the training side, especially if I get time for 2 or 3 weeks. You know, you really concentrate on those horses, and there's been a couple of times where that's happened, and they've gone out and raced well. So that's something that I'll be looking forward to.
Well, there's something for the listeners, isn't it? That when James gets time for 2 or 3 weeks, pack his horses because he's been training them a bit better, he reckons.
And I'm not driving them.
And you're not driving them. Oh, yeah.
Dad has one very annoying habit. I need you to, need you to probably fix up his appearance. Can you get rid of that Essendon beanie? He seems, and then when you get rid of one, he seems to have another one. Is there any chance we could get them on? It can be 40 degrees to be walking around with this stupid Essendon beanie on.
He's loyal.
Yeah, we won't go there.
But that's just part of the Ashley Herbertson
Stick.
him.
It's
That's
his
just him.
stick.
He's follically tested, so he just leaves I can say that, you two can't, but I can say that because I have the similar problem. Mate, people at home tonight, you give us one tonight. What about tomorrow night at Melton? What's your best chance? He's got quite a few drives, I noticed, so what would be your best chance tomorrow night?
Oh, it's hard to say in Melton, like I've got a few nice ones for Akey there and My Sky Pocket.
Actually, that's a nice one. Race 8, number 8. Bling it to the max. Half brother to bling it on, and actually might be a full brother. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's a lovely horse and got a good trailing draw there. So yeah, he'd be a dangerous one for sure.
Yeah, I think most of them will be able to earn checks, and hopefully a couple will be going very close. But Melton racing, it's hard to say. It comes down to tempo, like a lot of racing. So they're all good horses, and they deserve to be there.
It was a funny night the other night, wasn't it? A lot of people don't realise, and it was wind changing the other night. It changed up that track. I'm not sure if you watched too many races, but it just chopped and changed all night. Clayton Tonkin at one stage was worried about Ride High leading because no leaders were winning, and when he walked out on the track, he thought, oh, now I know why, because it was blowing a gale. And then by the last, the wind just totally stopped. That second last at U1 where you got the needle eye gap, the wind had just about died down. It was just cold, wasn't it? Yeah.
I was trying to explain it to a lot of trainers out there, that I was driving for. The horses probably weren't performing as they thought they would, and I said, the rain, the wind, how it was up the home straight, it was really affecting a few of the horses, and I think that's how Jodan won.
Because they got home in 29 seconds. There's no one he should have won, and yeah, he won easy.
Yep. He's been racing super well, Jodan, but from fullback the pegs around Melton, being able to come 3 wide around the turn and run over top of them, it's just you don't see it, and it was a very weird night of racing, as you said.
It was one of your better drives. It was an absolute pearler. We can say that. You don't have to answer it. But I just love how he's assessing and always analysing, and he's changing his drives throughout the night. I've spoken to him about Hamilton. He's got a theory on Hamilton at White so fast, and I just love how he's out there and he's always analysing and thinking about every race and his next drive. And you're a credit to yourself, James.
I think you have to too, though. But I think on the other night, I think that's a perfect example because it was changing conditions all night. So I think the drivers had to dead set change up how they were thinking, and I know a couple of the other podcasts they're doing form when they were having trouble reading the form out of the races. I think you take it on face value. I think the horses that won did a good job because the wind really was playing havoc and the rain was playing havoc. I had snow pants on in the middle of November in Melbourne. It was, and I was not looking stupid, was I, when everyone got out on the track? All right.
We better let him go. He's got a drive in the race 2 on Vapor Jack, who he's tipped the listeners into. So best of luck for Vapor Jack later and all your other drives tonight, James, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for joining us, mate. And you just got to wait 1 second.
Lap it up when Victoria comes together for harness racing's greatest carnival.
Thursday for Trots. We are back here live, as I said, Bray Raceway. We joined by some hierarchy here from Ballarat. There's been a bit of a pass a parcel as to who was going to come on. Brought to you tonight by Woodlands Stud, as we said, great sponsors of Thursday Trots. You can watch us on Facebook, Twitter, watch our podcast. You can't watch it, you can listen to our podcast as well.
Drop the A, Thursday. Keep saying Thursday.
I get that many words wrong. Thursday's one of my strong ones, and everyone wants me to change it. They're unbelievable, Dave. They give me a very, very hard time. Joined by David Brewhart. Is that how we say it?
Brio.
I can never get it right.
Brio.
Ballarat, very, very progressive club. Do a lot of great things here. It must be great to be... Are you on the committee? You're on the committee as such, as not a worker here, aren't you?
Yes, I'm one of the 2 vice presidents here. I've been on the committee possibly getting on towards 20 years. So, yeah, it's a great team, both from a committee point of view and also our full-time staff and management. It's a complete team. It's a big operation, and it grows and continues to grow.
Country club's winner again this year, and I think it was 6 years, is 6 or something. There's some amazing...
112.
112, is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Clubs of the year.
There was 6 in so many years just recently or something along those lines. It must be a great feather in your cap, but it also must make you strive to continue to get bigger, better at it.
Oh, yes, you're never satisfied. You never just want to consolidate. It's all about raising the bar, a term we use a lot around here, as far as you always want to do something different, come up with something innovative, and that's what's been the trend right through. We're never satisfied just to sit back and say, well, we've done a good job. Let's find something different to do, something new, and be a first and an industry leader, lead the way. Try
and lead the way, try and get other clubs to raise the bar to catch up to you.
Yeah, just give some ideas and keep, because it's important for the industry, isn't it? It's all about clubs, and we're an industry together, and no one's going to survive if you're an individual.
Exactly. Thursday nights, I believe, are a night you do for a lot of charity or fundraising. Is that correct? Upstairs with your meals.
Yeah. Look, we used to have a lot more Thursday nights, but as the scheduling's changed, that's varied. But for more than a decade now in Ballarat, we've done charity nights, fundraisers, and with different organisations putting up their hands. Something different that we offered rather than just going out to a hall or a centre like that. We can offer the dining package, the entertainment with the harness racing and the like. And over the time we've helped to raise a lot of money. We still do that where we can, and we're always willing to take on organisations. This year just gone, we had a fundraiser after fires at Bunkers Hill, just out of Ballarat in recent times. So we have our girls' night out every year. That was just only a few weeks ago, and more than 350 at that, and raised about $12,000. So we put our hand up whenever we can to help the community.
Those fires are a little bit close to home too, weren't they?
Yeah, they were only about a kilometre from where I live, but a lot more people were a lot closer than that, and we're heading towards another fire time. We hear about what's happening up north of the border, don't we? So it's never too far away from home.
No, definitely not.
You've got an event coming up shortly. It's the night market. You've got the flyer there just for reference point, and I know your daughter is involved at the club in the management, Bianca, and she's put a lot of work into it. She's we tried to get her on tonight, but she's...
I thought she was coming on, but yeah. Pity we didn't have a spare camera just to get the look on the face at the minute.
She says she's the brains behind the scenes,
Yeah. Tell us about the night market.
Well, we had a night market earlier in the year because, as I say, we're always looking for something innovative, a different way to bring people to the venue. They may not just want to come here for the harness racing experience, but we like to get them here for the experience right across the board. So a few months ago, we had our first night market. We had more than 20 stalls, and it was a big hit, getting about 1,000 people to come onto the track. And there's no strings attached to that. They just walked in, wasn't linked up with any dining packages or anything, and it was a big hit. So we've decided to hold them on a regular basis, perhaps for a year, and we've got another one coming up on Friday the 29th of November, and it's got much bigger than the previous one. It's got more than 30 stalls, and it's going to be a big night. Gold coin donation, and it's raising money for the soup bus in Ballarat, which helps those that are perhaps homeless and struggling. So we're having a gold coin donation to come in. A great variety of stalls, and as well as that, on the night we've got we're booked out virtually in the terrace as well, more than 300 people there. So, and then there's another function in this room that we're in at the moment. So we're going to be absolutely chockers. It's going to be very much like Cup Night as far as the facility really buzzing.
This room here, it's a great room, isn't it? It's a little bit of a sleeper. It's called the draft room, is that what it's called?
The draft room, that's right. We'd like to fill it more often, but it's an ideal location for those smaller functions that people are looking to hold.
It's only the draft room when the door's left open.
He had to have one. He has these ordinary jokes. He keeps coming with them all the time.
Like
He's finally bought one. Jason's even happy that he's bought it. We've been waiting for it, and it's just taken forever to come. So
I'll keep the dad jokes to work and home. So
please don't say.
No way.
But this room, I mean, the experience here, like to be able to watch the horses, we've had them there before. As I turn around, there's not one in there, but to be able to actually watch the horses doing the parade rings and that for non-racing people, it must be something. The more word you can get out there. I mean, for the people to be able to get out there and come to the races, they might be absolutely scared of harness horses or horses in general. Watch through here for the glass. You've got a fence there as well, but you can actually experience it. You can see the horses going out on the track, coming off, walk out to the other piece of glass, watch them race. I mean, it's just a great place to view harness racing and showcase what we can have.
Yeah, it is, and so it's one of our spots that we try to get as many functions in as we can, and as you say, it can provide that extra experience from a racing point of view that people may not be here for that reason primarily, but you can provide that experience, and it's all about exposing them to the sport. And
that's what we need, exposing more people. Sorry, Topes.
Cup night plans. Your cup is, I'm going January 19. I'm going to run with. Do you know it off the top of your head? It's the third Saturday in January, whatever it is.
That's correct. It's the first night of the Nights of Glory.
Yeah, of the Summer of Glory. We've done our research well and truly.
I think.
You've gone 18th. I'm on the 19th, so we'll have a fiver on that and see who wins. Plans for that for your cup meeting?
Yeah, well, we're in the process at the moment. Of course, we are the first of those 3 nights, so we're looking to give the carnival a big start with a big bang. And this season, next year, is the 50th running of the Ballarat Pacing Cup.
Oh, no.
Not the 50th anniversary, but the 50th running. So we're going to look to do a special celebration of that and do some flashbacks as we have in the past and really make it a special occasion to commemorate the 50th running of what we have no doubt is the premier provincial cup in Australasia.
Make it the best cup in Australia. Don't worry about provincial. It's the best country cup.
Yeah, okay.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's only semantics, provincial country cup.
We're going to be at Echuca next week. They'll be saying the same thing, so don't worry. It's
we're the best country. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's a great night, and it's been a marquee night for a long time.
I think we're all here to promote harness racing, and that's the one thing we're trying to do by making it the best, and you guys striving to make it the best means you're going to expose more people. So the more people we can expose to the sport and find out why we all love it, I think that's an added bonus in itself. For those who weren't aware what the salute was for, I might have been right too, just on the off chance. It is 18th of January, fellas, provided we're racing on a Saturday night. Yep. So, Saturday, 18th of January, so that'll be a big night. So would there be still bookings available?
There's still bookings yet. I know the terrace is filling up very rapidly, but there's still plenty of scope for packages, dining packages on the night. There's no doubt about that.
Very good.
Been some work done in the stabling areas?
Yes, just in the last couple of weeks, we've had the stables re-asphalted. It was well and truly needed. It's been one of those jobs that's been on the drawing board for some time, so we're fortunate enough to get some government funding to help with that last year, and the work's been done. There's still a few things to be finished in there, like all the seating had to come out for that work to be done, so there will be seating reinstated, and but it's brightened things up, and we'll try and do a bit more work on the stables as well.
All right.
Very good.
That's us, is it?
I think so. We've got anything else out of the ordinary coming up? Or I mean, as I said, you do a lot on social media. I think you won the media awards this year as well. So you do get the word out there. But I think what you're doing everywhere is great, and I think it's a great venue to watch. And anyone wants to come to a room, come to the draft room with all the doors closed. It's a ripping room.
Oh, well, if you want to come to the best spot to watch harness racing and experience the harness racing in Australasia, come to Bray Raceway.
I don't reckon Bianca would have been as bullish as you. I reckon she might have been a bit quieter. I'm not sure what you think, but I reckon she just may have been a touch quieter.
And she's told me what to say, and I'm saying it. But no, this is the spot to be, and we do all we can to bring as many people to the trots as we can. It's an ongoing challenge, but we're up for it, and always looking for new ways to bring people to harness racing, and tonight we've got a good number upstairs again in the terrace, and going forward we'll always provide some surprises and something special for the race goer.
Everyone at home that wants to know Bianca, they'll have to chase her up on her Facebook page or the likes, but she's a young person, which is what we want in harness racing, and she's passionate about it. She probably should have been up here with you and me, Tobes. We would have been right, wouldn't we? We wouldn't have upset her at all.
We would have looked after her, so...
She may have taken over.
Yeah, once she got her wings spread, she would have just taken over. Well, that's probably glad, because it's more about us than the guest, isn't it?
Dave's done a pretty good job of making it about Ballarat. He's done a great job of promoting it. Don't worry about that.
It is Ballarat. That's where we are. Ballarat.
Bray Raceway.
And
correct.
next week we're off to Echuca, so I think we'll be back in 7 days' time at 5 o'clock live from Echuca,
So we're finishing.
That's us, yeah, I think so.
What
else have we got to wrap up?
Thank you,
Done
Jace.
and dusted.
Thank
Thanks.
you, MediaTek. Thank you, everyone else. And thanks to Ballarat for hosting us and looking after us. It's been great.
Thanks very much.
And thanks to Woodlands Stud.
Yes, very much so. Well done. Yeah. You've got to wait till he says we're clear. 6 minutes. Well done, Dave. Next time, come on, mate.
Lap it up when Victoria comes together for harness racing's greatest carnival, Trots Country.